meet with the Confederate Secret Service. Yeah, because the Confederate Secret Service was running out of Montreal, Canada. So yeah, so he gets the idea. Booth originally gets the idea to kidnap Abraham Lincoln. During the war, there was a prisoner exchange program. They were pretty much they were giving prisoners back and forth until Grant came to become general in chief of all Union armies, and he stopped it entirely. We talked about it in our the Chicago a couple of years ago, the Chicago haunts episode about Fort Douglas. Remember that?
Yeah, I
Like we
certainly
talked
do.
about Grant cutting off the prisoner of war program, exchange program. So Booth was like, okay, you know what? We're going to kidnap the president. We're going to kidnap the president, hold him for ransom until Grant restores the prisoner exchange program. That's what we're going to do. They never go through with it. They initially try to go on one day to do it. He's supposed to be supposed to ride ride to the soldiers' home. It was a hospital outside the Washington city's limits. He ends up canceling it because during this time, the American Secret Service, is not guarding the president. The American Secret Service had just been invented. This is another thing. They had just been invented, and their main job is back then is today is to catch counterfeiters. They were having an uptick in counterfeiters that were going around copying federal money. Not federal money, really bank money until they came to the federal note. So that's what the Secret Service was doing, and pretty much they weren't guarding the president. It would take like years before they were able to get that assignment to guard the president. And at the time, they just like, hey, we're here to catch counterfeiters. So guarding the president was supposed to be the Union Army. That was their job. And pretty much that day, they weren't guarding him because he was just going back and forth to the soldiers' home like he had done mostly every week to visit wounded soldiers off the line. And to cheer him up and have dinner with him and stuff. He decided that day that Booth and his conspirators were going to kidnap him. He decided not to go, and they ended up calling it off.
How long before the assassination was this plot supposed to happen?
There was about almost a year.
Okay.
About a year, yeah.
Okay, so they never went through with it, or he canceled his plan, so Booth decided to move on to another plan, huh?
Well, not initially at first. They still wanted to do the kidnapping plot, and then the war kept going badly for him, and then Lee surrendered. And Abraham Lincoln, the night that Lee surrendered, Abraham Lincoln had got on the balcony because all of Washington is going insane and lighting off fireworks. Like, we've been in this war for 4 years. We're all like, it's kind of like when they call COVID over. We're just gonna all get in the streets and just be like, yeah, blowing our load all over the place, all over the streets. Like, some are doing that now, but yeah, that's how it kind of was back when we surrendered. So Abraham Lincoln made a speech, and he talked in that speech about making African American men the right to vote. And that really set Booth off, because not only being a horrible overactor and a Confederate sympathizer, he was a great giant bigot, like a lot of people in that time.
Sure.
So he heard that speech, and it was like, that's it. The words he used, I'll put him through. By God, I'll put him through. That's what he said
to the other side.
That's what he said to his other conspirator, David Herod.
Okay.
Herod. After that speech, because he was there at that speech and he heard it, and He was like, "That's it. We're changing this to fucking killing him. We're gonna kill Lincoln." And this is not the only time he contemplated about killing Lincoln. During his second inauguration, pretty much John Wilkes Booth was there at his second inauguration, and he was pretty close to Lincoln. There's actually a photo where you have to literally get a magnifying glass. And even with the magnifying glass, because of how photography is back then, it's not the HD and good quality that we have on your phones right now. We can zoom in and see, oh, with his face. But pretty much during this Abraham Lincoln's second inauguration speeches, above him in one of the balconies is John Wilkes Booth. And he openly talked about, well, to his conspirators, how he was in perfect position to kill Lincoln that day, but he didn't do it. Because apparently he loves Abraham Lincoln's dick.
Yeah, I see the picture that you're talking about. He's just right above him in the balcony, like behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Like not that far from him to be able to, draw his weapon and shoot.
Yeah.
If he wanted to. Yeah. Wild.
Mm-hmm. So Booth decides to change it to where we're going to murder him plot. Booth finds out that Lincoln is coming to a performance of Our American Cousin at Ford's Theater. I looked up My American Cousin, the play, because they've only done it a couple of times after Lincoln was assassinated. And it was like just a couple of years ago. The play, I guess, is about an American who is introduced to his aristocratic English relatives when he goes to England.
Okay.
Just a side note. What is Our American Cousin? It's supposed to be a comedy. So, because back then, just like now, people find the British funny. It would be great. Let's put Kevin Hart together with Colin Firth. Let's see the hilarity.
So he goes to this play.
Yeah, he's going to this play, and they announce it. And Booth, who is staying in Washington, but he gets his mail at Ford's Theater because he performs at the Ford's Theater so much. So he gets his mail forwarded to Ford's Theater. He finds out about it. It was like, all right, we're going to kill him tonight. Yeah, we're going to kill him tonight. So Booth went to a boarding house that was owned by a woman named Mary Surratt. Remember that name?
Okay.
She has a boarding house in Washington, D.C., and it asked her to deliver a package to her tavern in Stewartsville, Maryland. He also asked her to tell her tenant, Louis J. Weicherman, to ready the guns and ammunition that Booth had previously stored away at the tavern. The conspirators met for the final time that day. This is April 14th, 1865. Well, April 13th, 1865. For the final time at 8:45 p.m. Booth told Lewis Powell, a Confederate, he was a former Confederate soldier, spy, courier, and all along a terrible fucking person. And also supposedly strong as an ox, to kill the Secretary of State William Stewart at his home. George Atzerodt, a German immigrant and Confederate sympathizer, was charged with killing the Vice President Andrew Johnson, who was staying at Kirkwood Hotel. And Heron was to guide Powell to Stewart's house because Powell was not from Washington, D.C. He didn't know where to go. So Heron was supposed to guide him to Stewart's house. And once they had done their task to rendezvous with Booth in Maryland on their way to the South, where they'll be cheered and have flowers thrown at them and panties just flowing off, just going, "You saved us, you saved us. We can keep our black people in bondage." So the next day, Booth goes, well, no, this is the same day. I'm sorry. This is the same day. This is April 14th, not the 13th. It's April 14th. So Booth goes to the theater. He gets at Lincoln has a presidential box in the theater set up just for him, and he has a guard, a Union guard sitting in place, making sure nothing happens to him. Well, two Union guards. One of the Union guards goes across the street to go get drunk. He was like, "I'll see you after the play. I've seen this like a million times." So he goes over across the street to the bar and gets drunk. So he leaves another Union guard. John Wells Booth enters from the back. He gives his horse to one of the guys in a horse. One of the guys who runs the back. The state, not the stage manager. The grip. I'm in theater. I can't even think of the guy's name. What this guy's title was. Well, I was in theater, but one of the backstage hands to hold his horse. So he does because it's John Wells fucking Booth. It's like if Tom Holland pulled up him and Sadaya and his fucking what's an expensive car?
Bugatti.
But yeah, he pulls out a Bugatti, comes up to you, is like, "Here, watch my car for me. I'll be right back." You would do it.
You're not gonna think twice. Sure, it made sense that he would be at the theater and allowed to go in so easily.
Yeah, so Booth goes through the back. He goes up through the crowd and goes up to the balcony where the presidential box is, but it's restricted. But because who John Wells Booth is, no one says anything. He's always at the theater. He's famous. He probably just wants to meet the president. So, because he's famous. So he gets there. He's walking to the box. He hands, supposedly from an eyewitness, he hands the guard a card. We don't know what the card was. The guard is like, okay, and then he walks off for something. No one ever knows what he said to him. Booth goes into the box. He puts a 2x4 piece of wood against the box door so it won't open, because he got there earlier in the day to shove out a place where the this piece of wood can brace itself against the wall so no one gets the door open. And he also carved a hole because there's like the president box, you get in there, it's a door, and then you go through, there's two sets of doors and they're kind of a couple of feet apart. So he walks through one door, closes the door, sets that, and he's looking at a peephole he made through the other door. So he sees the back of Lincoln and his wife. Lincoln's there with his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, and he was supposed to be with General Grant and his wife, Julia Grant. They were supposed to be at this play. They invited them, but at the last minute they said no. It was for multitude of reasons. Grant had to be in another place. He had to be in another place. He had to be in Philadelphia at another place. And also Grant's wife and Mary Todd didn't get along.
Okay, so
the Lincolns ended up inviting a Major Henry Rathbone and his fiancee Clara Harris, who was the daughter of at that time U.S. Senator Ira Harris of New York. So they're in the box. They're watching the play. And then before I go on, Ogul, you got any questions? I know you just sitting here and I'm just blabbling.
No, I'm just sort of following along the story. So he makes it up to the booth. He's already got he's premeditated this entire murder, right? He came the day before, you said he set up so like he moved some wood around so he would block the door.
Yeah.
So he's up there now, and it's just it's just him, the president, a friend of the president. You said a senator's wife.
It's Lincoln. It's Lincoln, his wife, Major Harris, and his fiancee Clara, or Major Rathbone, excuse me, and his fiancee Clara. Those are the four people in the box.
So he doesn't have any Union Army reps or like someone protecting him in the box?
No, there's no one in the box.